hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I've put together 15 of my best coastal patriotic Dollar Tree DIYs for you. So think 4th of July, but with a little bit of a coastal touch. For the first DIY, we're going to start with these wall shelves from the Dollar Tree. These are kind of the chunkier, skinnier ones, but really you could use any of the Dollar Tree craft wood. But I find that these little pre-made shelves like this from the Dollar Tree are a nice time saver. They make great signs that are nice and thick, and you can put them together and make any size sign that you want. So I always try to pick up a handful of these whenever I see these at my stores. And so again, I am just taking the rope off of these because I want to put these together just to make a project. And that looks really good. What I wanted to make out of these was a coastal American flag. I was showing you could also use those long signs from the Dollar Tree to make this as well. There's lots of options, but I wanted like 3 different pieces so that I could have like openings in between the slats to kind of make a very coastal looking flag. So I'm going to use painter's tape. And what I want to do is mark off about halfway down. I want to have my flag stripes to be about half of the board. So I'm just kind of estimating about half, exposing the top half there. But I also want this to look like an American flag, right? So I'm also going to go over it here to try to create like the flag star box at the top. So just kind of lining that up so I don't make my stripes go too far. And then for our flag, we're going to do it in some fun beachy colors, right? So I'm going to mix, I think this is turquoise and white acrylic paints together to give me a really light turquoise color. And I love that color. I think that looks really nice and beachy. And instead of red and white stripes on here, we're going to do a beach version, right? So the top half, I want to do the stripes. So I am just painting the top half of each board, but also avoiding the area where there would be stars. So this one, I can go across the whole shelf or piece of wood with the blue paint. And just peeling off our painter's tape. That worked great. We got some great flag stripes going on here. And you can kind of see it coming together there a little bit, the flag, right? So now I need to kind of reverse tape it so that we can do the box for the stars, right? So just lining that up to where I painted before to give a perfect little box there that I can paint. And for this one, I'm going to go in with a different color of blue. I believe this is lake, and I mixed it with white. I basically just wanted something a little bit more blue, a little bit less turquoise. So it still wasn't quite the color I wanted, so I added a little royal. If you don't have the colors that you need, you can always mix colors together and experiment. And that's what I did. I mixed all kinds of blues together there to give me a fun like sky blue color, something that's going to look different than the blue we used on the stripes, because I definitely need a different color for a contrast, right? So we are just going to go ahead and paint that square, that color of blue. So it's kind of like a light blue and turquoise flag is what we're going for. And I think those colors look really pretty together. Can't tell you what color that is. That is a Crafty Beach original, I guess. Now it's time to put this flag together. So we're going to use the rope that came with it, of course. And we're just going to tie it together. So I just knot it in the front, cut a piece string that to the next one. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other side at the same time. That way I can get them, you know, fairly even, the gap that's going to be hanging in between, because I kind of want it to look like, you know, like a hanging board sign, that it's a little bit flexible. There's a little bit movement in between. So I just tie those two together. And we're going to keep working up our little coastal flag, doing the same thing. And, you know, a traditional American flag is wonderful, but it's always fun to kind of put your own touches on things. And I think my little beach version of the American flag is really cute, too. It's just a matter of feeding these through, trying not to get too much fraying. It might work a little bit better if you use a little bit of hot glue on the tip. By just stringing them all along. Now I'm going to go ahead and take apart another one of these. They also have these metal rings on them, which are great. So you should always save that, right? What I did is I just peeled off one of the ropes and left the other one tied on there because, hey, it's there. We might as well use it. It would make a great coastal hanger. So with just one string attached instead of two, I fed that in and tied it off there in the front. Now for starfish, stars, I'm going to use those same white stars that we used on the seahorse that I get on Amazon. If you don't have these and you want to put this together, you can use one of the Dollar Tree starfish instead. It would probably be about the right size, and just put one star on there. That would be totally fine. This one, these are great because I'm able to get like 9 of them on there, 3 by 3 by 3. And these are so easy. All you got to do is glue them on. They have a nice flat back. And I'm just going to leave them that existing white color. I think that looks so pretty against the flag. And it's going to coordinate nicely with that seahorse that we just made. That was more a bluish blue too with the white stars. And then the holes on the bottom were bothering me. So quick fix, just tie a knot, string it through, tie them on the back, and you will have no holes in your sign. Easy peasy. What do you guys think about my little crafty beach coastal American flag for 4th of July? It's so cute.
And I'm sorry, some of the images today are a little bit grainy. For some of these DIYs, I took a picture of all of them, and I don't know why I didn't take individual pictures of them, but that's the reason for that. I usually try to take really high detailed pictures, but I think you can see it pretty good.
Okay, next DIY, we're going to use 2 of these little bamboo turners from the Dollar Tree, and I thought they kind of look like oars, right? So we're going to DIY some oars with these little spatulas from the Dollar Tree. I was trying to figure out how big of a handle they kind of needed, because I didn't want them to have like that existing handle. I wanted to have like a little, you know, oar handle here at the end to make them look like little paddles. And so I just cut the popsicle stick down to size, and then I cut a rounded edge on it to try to match, you know, the end that's already on there. So I cut down 2 of those to size, and we're just going to attach those to our little oars. And I thought they were a little too big. That's why I'm just trimming them down a little bit, but trying to cut that curve back in there. Cutting popsicle sticks is usually pretty easy, but just trying to get it where it looks symmetrical. Then a little bit of hot glue right here on the tip. And we're going to have little handles for our oars. This was such a sweet, cute little project. Then I kind of want them to look patriotic because, hey, this is the 4th of July, right? So I thought some red stripes here on the handle could give them a slight patriotic feel. And it looks like something that would be on an oar anyway, right? So just a red paint pen, I do the front and both sides where you might be able to see it there on the handle. And then I'm going to go in here and do the same thing on the other side. I just want them to have some slight touches that are also patriotic because they're going to be displayed with all of these DIYs you've seen me make so far. Now on the rest of the paddle down here, I thought we would do stars for the flag, right? I'm just using a white paint pen and just drawing stars in there, dotting in the centers, just kind of staggering them like they would be on a flag. You could also do starfish for this. That would be really cute as well. And then for the popsicle stick, I'm going to use like a mint green color to kind of bring in a little bit of that blue beachy vibe. And then we can crisscross them together like that. And it looks like we have a little tiny pair of oars. Super fun for a small DIY. These would be great on a tier tray as well, I think. They're not that large. And then just using some twine, I am tying them together where they come together here in the middle. And flipping that over and tying them again. Now, I wasn't sure they'd stay in place, so I do use a little bit of hot glue there to secure them, so they'll stay exactly where I need them to be. Just a matter of letting that hot glue dry. And then I'm just gonna wrap it around with that same twine to kind of look like they're tied together a little bit. And then using that twine, I'm also gonna tie it off and then just tie a little loop here in the back to make a little built-in hanger. Because these are gonna hang on my wall. Quick and easy, we have some little coastal patriotic oars. And this is how they look hanging on my wall. I hope you guys are getting some great ideas.
These are a little bit on the smaller side for oars, but I think they were great for a 4th of July DIY just because they're so whimsical and fun. And you can always change up the color of blues on theirs too to kind of match your decor. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's video so far? If you are, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos do better here on YouTube.
So the first item is free. I found a really gnarly piece of driftwood at the beach. It can be anything. If you're not next to a beach, you could always use a stick or a log, something that you find on a walk or in your yard or something like that. This one's a little crazy. I'm just trimming it up just a tiny bit, but I kind of like it all wild and crazy. We're going to transform it into a sailboat. So this is just a little wood piece that I had from Dollar Tree out of one of the little crafting kits. It can be any flat surface, any little flat piece of wood. I just needed something to act as a base for my driftwood. And so that's what I'm going to do is just hot glue that onto that wood that I painted a beachy blue color. I want to do like a 4th of July sailboat with this using fabrics from the Dollar Tree. So I just need it to stand up, and just any kind of piece of wood, any kind of craft wood, maybe even a Dollar Tree ruler might work for that. Then right in the middle, I just break out my power drill and I'm just going to drill a hole here in the middle so that we can make a sail. Now for the sail, I'm using one of these, which is like the little hot dog sticks from the Dollar Tree, but you can use any kind of dowel you have, but I think this one's going to work perfectly. I'm just cutting it down to size there with my miter scissors and putting a little hot glue in the hole to glue it in place. And that's how it looks so far. So I want to use some shore living fabric with starfish on it. And then I picked up some of these 4th of July bandanas from the Dollar Tree so we could get some stripes. I couldn't find any like flag stripe fabric at the Dollar Tree, so a bandana will work perfectly for this. But I only really want the stripes, so I'm going to cut off the stars and then kind of measure how big I need it to be, because I also measured my sail and can just kind of cut a tab there so I know exactly where to cut, right? I decided it was a little too wide, so I'm going to take one row off of the stripes, try to cut a straight line there. Now, just using my ruler, I am going to try to cut a straight line here all the way across. I decided I better use my ink pen so I'll know exactly where to cut. And I just cut inside that line that I made with my ink pen. And we have a very easy little 4th of July sail. I left the seam on the bottom because why not? That kind of adds to it. Then for the other side of this sail, we need stars, right? So I thought this starfish fabric from the Shore Living line at Dollar Tree would be perfect. If you want a more traditional flag-looking sailboat, they do have the blue and white stars fabric at the Dollar Tree, sometimes if you're lucky. But I wanted to do coastal, so I think this is going to look really cute together. What do you guys think? So it's just a matter of cutting another sail. I'm just going to go ahead and cut that right there at the seam. And then using my ruler just to get some straight lines, we can cut a sail here for the other side. Now, usually like a sailboat has like a bigger side, and that's what this is going to be. So I measured out exactly how big I wanted it by looking at my driftwood, and then just again use my ruler to draw a line on there, and we're going to simply cut this out. I don't think we're going to have any problems with fraying or anything like that, but I did give them a quick iron because they were a little bit wrinkly. Sometimes that fabric, when it's folded up like that for a while at Dollar Tree, can stay that way. Now, for the flag, I didn't have like any hooks to do like any a lot of times they put the little hooks into the wood and you string it in there. So I'm just going to string directly to the fabric. I just used a big needle to poke some holes in the corners. And then I'm just using some Dollar Tree twine. This one's really cute. It's like the brown and white twine. And it's just a matter of getting it through there. I found that my cricket weeder might do a better job of making a little bit larger hole, but then I just knot the twine on the other side to keep it in place. Now we're going to do the same thing here on the other side with our little flag stripes. And feed that through and tie it off. And then we can attach the little ropes to the sail that we made and to the boat. Had a little bit of trouble on that one, but I think this is going to work really well, and it's a quick fix. Now, recently at Dollar Tree, I was able to find some of the little hooks that you could use for this, but it's not something that I often see at Dollar Tree. I had a little bit more trouble with the material in the bandana, so when I couldn't quite get it, I just tied the corner. I think it's gonna be fine. So now it's just a matter of laying out our sails just like we want. And again, we can just tie it on our little dowel we have right here in the middle to put the sail exactly where we want it, bottom and top. And then we'll just need to attach the other one down to the piece of driftwood. So same thing. These are going to be pretty even with each other. Just knotting that around. And then I can even knot the two together, cutting off the excess. And then we're going to do the same thing here at the top. Who knew that making a sailboat was so expensive, right? I have spent big money on sailboats for decorations. Isn't that cute? And it's patriotic, but it's also so coastal and beautiful that it doesn't scream 4th of July. It just hints at it a little bit, right? With the red and white sail. And I just glued twine right inside my driftwood. I had an opening there. And then on this side, I don't. So I'm just going to kind of glue it to a hole in the back, just wherever I could find an inconspicuous area back there. It's so cute so far. I do use a little hot glue there at the top to make sure that that stays in place. Also at the bottom, I don't want them slouching down. And then I just wanted to make a flag for the top, and I thought I would use a little bit more Shore Living fabric just for that beachy blue color that I've used on the base, and that's also on the starfish. So I just need the tiniest little bit of fabric here to do like a two-sided flag. So what I want to do is just wrap it around and kind of make it look like it's shaped like a little pennant. I probably should have cut it all out in one piece, but I just cut two pieces down, the same size, just 2 little triangles just to make it a little bit stiffer so that it will stand up like a flag. And then I just hot glue them together. And I did leave a tab on the back of my triangle there so that I could wrap it around. But I also don't want that to be visible, so I trimmed off the corners. Then I used a little bit of hot glue, and I'm just going to secure that to my skewer for a little flag right there on top. Now, it is going to need a little hot glue to keep this in place, but I think this turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this coastal patriotic sailboat?
And remember, try to think outside the box. Using starfish fabric like this for a star pattern is a really fun way for a whimsical like flag pattern combined with the bandana there. And you guys know I always love a project where I can use some driftwood, and this piece is no exception. I really love how it all came together.
This is actually a cosmetic bag that I found at the Dollar Tree. I love the color and I loved this saying. It says, "Oh my stars." So I thought we could just make it into a quick little DIY sign. It's about the same size as one of those little bamboo cutting boards from the Dollar Tree. And so I'm just going to cut the front of the bag off. And it's like a great like faux leather. It cut really easily. And you never know what you're going to find. No matter what aisle of the Dollar Tree you're at, cosmetic bags can be great to DIY with. Just try to make that look a little bit more symmetrical. I did want it to have a little bit of a wood border so that we could decorate it a little bit. But I think that looks really cute. I wasn't sure my lines were quite up to par, so I do actually measure them with a ruler to make my cutting a little bit better. And then I thought it needed to show maybe a little bit more wood on the top and the bottom just to space it out a little bit. So I kind of play with it until I'm happy with it. Oh my stars. I love that saying. We're going to use that again here in another DIY. I think it's so fun. Now to attach it, I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree thumbtacks to go straight into the bamboo cutting board. No glue or anything required. We're just going to kind of pin it down. It's another little fun little touch. That bamboo, though, is hard. It can bend those for sure. There was a couple I had to try a couple times. And get this attached. I thought we could also decorate it a little bit more. If I could finally get this secure. Okay, that looks good. And I thought some stars would be perfect. These are some laser cut craft stars from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. I thought they were very ornate. You know, they're kind of like just made out of cardboard, but they're really cute. You can do a lot of fun things with these. And so since it says, "Oh my stars," I thought we would give it some stars to decorate it even further. Now, you could leave it that brown color, but I wanted to make mine a little bit beachy. So I'm just using some light blue. I think this is called Lake. Just a very light blue color. And painting over those. Isn't like the designs cut in there just beautiful? I love that. It's a great way to get a DIY material to make your DIY without having to be able to make it. You know, some people have those like laser machines. Those things are so cool that cut things out. And I'm just kind of arranging them in a random pattern all over our little "Oh My Stars" sign. And then we're just going to attach them with hot glue. I saw that bag and I just thought, you know, this would be perfect for coastal patriotic. The saying's perfect and the color's perfect. Just got to find some way to make this into a sign. And those little bamboo cutting boards from the Dollar Tree, I love picking them up. They're so versatile. They're nice and thick and you can just do about anything with them. Then I thought it needed a frame. So some of this nautical rope cotton from the Dollar Tree, the white rope. This is, I think, the thinner one. I'm just going to do a really cute little rope border on this. It is definitely thick enough for this. The bamboo board is, cutting board is rather thick. And so I'm just hot gluing that all around the edges just to give another little coastal touch. I do leave a little loop there at the top so that we can make a hanger up there to hang this on the wall. And just try to figure out exactly where my center is so I don't hang it too crooked. And then I was trying to decide if I should just loop it or twist it at the top. And then just cut off here at the corner and we can finish the frame. Just a fun way to hang it, but it's also going to add a little coastal farmhouse charm to this sign. I did decide to loop it, so I just twist it, and then we're going to glue that down to the top of the sign. It's going to have a little rope loop hanger right here at the top. And this isn't very heavy, so it's going to be pretty easy to hang with that, I think. And there is our little Oh My Star sign. It's kind of hard to read the yellow parts there, right? But it turned out so cute. It was so easy to put together.
And you never know what I'm going to craft with. If I can find it at Dollar Tree and it would make something cute, I am definitely going to use it for a DIY. You can count on that. Hey guys, have you checked out my website yet? It's craftybeach.net. It's my new website. I'm really happy with it. Whenever I post videos, I'm going to make a blog post for that video. So you can go on my page, craftybeach.net, find the ideas you wanted, click on that blog post, and you'll see a photo of each one of the DIYs I made in that video that you can then pin on Pinterest so you can remember to make it. If you scroll down, you can even find the coordinating YouTube video with the exact directions of how I put mine together. And I'm going to have everything kind of classified by season. Right now I have like Easter, spring, beach, 4th of July is coming. And I even have a link for my Amazon shop and my Etsy store. So everything in one place. My contact information is on there as well. But these little Etsy images are so popular with y'all. So check it out. My new website, craftybeach.net. I'm really excited about it and I hope you visit it soon. Okay, with the next DIY, I picked up some of these anchor signs. Now, these are Shore Living. They've had the past 3, I think, years at Dollar Tree, but I didn't see them with Shore Living this year, but I am still finding them from time to time in the Crafter Square. So I don't know, they might be a Crafter Square item now. Some of the items have transitioned to Crafter Square, like the mermaids and stuff like that. So hopefully you could find one if you wanted to recreate this great anchor DIY.
And of course, what we're doing on this is stripes. So I'm just using painter's tape and just putting it on there in stripes. I'm not measuring or anything, just kind of estimating a good flag stripe pattern right there on it. Also taping it down to my silicone mat, which is going to make it a little bit easier to paint. Now we are going to go in with some traditional bright red acrylic paint to give some bright red stripes on here for this flag. And I love mixing some red in with the blues. It really pops against the blue decor. And then just peeling off my painter's tape to reveal some beautiful red stripes. And I'm not going to paint the white lanes white. I'm just going to leave it the natural wood. I think it looks great in coastal. But for the back anchor, I thought it would be fun to do a bright blue color. So this is turquoise acrylic paint, just going all over with that beautiful blue color, because this is going to kind of have a peekaboo effect peeking out from behind the red and white stripe anchor. Kind of like that, if you know what I mean. So a fun little touch, and I'm glad I decided to mix it up with a different color. Now to make it chunky and space them out, I'm just using those little wood blocks from the Dollar Tree and hot gluing 3 of them to the top of the back anchor. So it will stand out from the back so you can see the contrast, and it's going to make it a way more chunkier piece. It looks way better. And then just using hot glue, I'm attaching the anchor to the front. Look how pretty those colors look together. Now I thought some Dollar Tree white nautical rope would look great if we kind of strung it through here. So I'm going to kind of go between signs, just trying to find a good place to start. I am going to glue the top down so it kind of stays in place, like right here on that wood block in the middle, right through like the hole in the top of the anchor. And this is the Dollar Tree white rope, that I think the thinner one, but it doesn't matter. They would both look great. And then I'm just stringing it around the anchor, you know, kind of like you see with anchors and decor, trying to figure out exactly what looks the best. And then I can secure it with some hot glue. I think that looks pretty good. So a little hot glue there to keep it in place. And this DIY is complete. You can just hang it with the little circle opening there at the top.
And I think it turned out really fun. I love the color combination. I think it looks really great, especially like from the side or at an angle where you can see the blue like peeking out from the back, that contrast against the red and white stripes. I think it's really fun. Now for the next DIY, I'm using some of the Shore Living wooden fish. I got these at Dollar Tree last year and I have not seen them there this year, but I wanted to go ahead and include this just because it's a quick, easy coastal DIY, and maybe if you have some left over or can find some fish.
I'm just using my pliers to try to take off the staples on the side that's holding that rope on there, because I want to use some Dollar Tree bandanas to kind of make these look patriotic. I thought we could string a couple fish up. I was at the antique mall the other day and somebody had taken these Dollar Tree fish, because I was like, these are Dollar Tree fish. And they strung theirs up and I thought it looked really cute. So I thought we could do kind of a patriotic version of this, right? So I'm going to use this American flag bandana, and I'm going to do one fish in the blue and white star pattern. And I just use an ink pen and my fish to kind of draw the shape on there. And it's not going to be like, you know, it does fray a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. I'm kind of going for a rustic vibe on this DIY. But I just do the best I can without my fabric scissors. I might have to buy another pair. Nobody seems to know where they are. And I am going to cut out the fish shape with the star pattern. Now, I was thinking I would do 1 stars and 1 stripe. And I was thinking, you know, that white fish already has like the boards on there and I could just paint like red stripes on there. That would be super easy. I do end up using fabric for the red and white stripes too, though, just because I wanted them to have like, you know, the same texture. So I already had the fabric, so why not? I was kind of at this point trying to decide. Yeah, I think I want to use fabric on this one as well. You'll notice my ugly blue Band-Aid there. That is from a Crafty Beach injury. When I was DIYing that adorable flamingo reef the other day, I burnt myself so bad with my hot glue gun, and which is funny because I didn't really even need to use hot glue on that project, but I don't know how I did it, but I burnt myself so bad. I've never burnt myself that badly with a hot glue gun, and it had the biggest blister I've ever seen on it, and it popped while I was doing these DIYs, and it was a mess. Ugh. Be careful with your hot glue guns, people. They can be dangerous, right? So I am going to put the stripe pattern on this fish, and hoping I cut those down pretty close to size. Now to attach it, I'm just going to use Mod Podge, a thick layer of Mod Podge, and kind of smooth that out. You can kind of wiggle it around a little bit to try to get it as close to the edges as you can. But again, I kind of wanted to keep my stripes as straight as I can on the flag there. And this is going to be my little striped fish. And then I want to Mod Podge over the top of it to make sure this stays down. And it was still kind of wet when I did that, so it was a matter of just moving it around to kind of keep it exactly where it should be. And just kind of smoothing that out, and then I'll give that a dry with my heat gun. I'm going to do the same thing here for my little starfish. Oh, get it? It's a starfish. and I Mod Podge that down as well. Now it is like a wood slat underneath there. So once I do get these like Mod Podge, the fabric on there, I do kind of want to go with that. So I do go in there with a razor blade and cut the fabric just to provide, you know, a little bit more texture and fun to the sign. And you can just put like your blade right into the groove. And then I also went back and kind of tried to trim up some of the loose strings kind of sticking off the side. I did want it to look rustic, but not sloppy. If you really wanted to, you could go around like the edges of it with rope. That would be super cute as well. And cover up any of your loose ends. But I'm going to go ahead and cut the starfish as well. And touch that one up as well. Now I want to string these fish together, but I want to string them from their heads like you would string fish that you caught. And so I just use my drill and I drill a hole through the tip of both ends here where their heads would be, straight through the fabric and the wood sign. And then I'm going to use some of this red and white twine. It doesn't matter, whatever you have. I thought this would be festive for 4th of July. I put it through the hole, tie that fish up, and then using that same piece, I'm going to go through and tie the striped fish as well, like they're on a stringer. And then to kind of keep them in place, I just kind of loop that, tie that into a knot there. And then I kind of want them to stay kind of overlapping a little bit like that. And I really kind of wanted the stars on top. So I did do a little bit of hot glue on the edge here to kind of lightly glue them together, but I do kind of want them to look like they are like, you know, kind of hanging on a stringer. And these are patriotic fish. This was a fun DIY, and I think this is going to look great with my patriotic decor.
And I guess you really wouldn't have to have wood fish. You could really do anything for the background. And the fish shape is pretty easy to cut down. But using those bandanas, it's really fun to do like a flag pattern, the contrasting stars and stripes for your decor.
Okay, next DIY, I just needed a bucket, and this one I found at the Target dollar spot. I thought it would be perfect because it's a beautiful beachy blue color, but you could take a Dollar Tree bucket and do the same thing. What I liked about it is that it had that rope handle on it. I thought that looked really coastal, and the color was really coastal. Now, I'm just trying to fill up most of the bucket so I don't have to use so much stuff. So I just used like a tin bucket and some trash bags because I had no recycling that day. Something that I can reuse, just a spacer in there. And then I wanted a little patriotic touch on the front. I found this little American flag patch at the Dollar Tree. And I thought that'd be really cute and simple right on the front of our beach pail. And so I'm just attaching that with hot glue. And now it's just in the regular crafter square section. If you're not able to find it, you could probably use any kind of flag decor from the Dollar Tree that's small like that. Maybe even like a window decal. Then since it's a beach pail, we are going to fill it up with beach finds. First, I'm using just like white bleached seashells I have from the beach. You can use whatever you've got. I just wanted a little bit of a shell feel. And then, of course, starfish because it's the 4th of July. And these are the white starfish from Dollar Tree. And I think that looks really cute because you can see the seashells like peeking through a little bit. But mostly you're going to see the stars, which I think goes with the patriotic feel. But I'm not going to stop there. This is a plunger handle from the Dollar Tree. And I thought we could make some fun coastal little like bottle rockets with these. Some fireworks. So I'm just staining this with some antique wax by Waverly, but I don't want it too dark. So I'm wiping off the excess with a baby wipe to give me a lighter stain. And I got a really good deal on this. Like the plunger part was missing, so they had it marked down to like 50 cents at my Dollar Tree. But I'm also going to stain some of the little food skewers from the Dollar Tree. I thought we would make like 3 like bottle rockets. So they're going to have like the skinny stick like a bottle rocket has, and then like the thicker firework part at the end that makes it do its magic. Now, they do stain a little bit differently than the handle to the plunger, but just trying to get it as close as I can get it. Maybe not wipe off as much. Because I kind of want that medium wood color. It's going to go nicely with that brown rope that's on our little beach bucket. Then I use my saw to cut down 3 pieces out of the plunger handle, all about the same size that we can make look like little rockets. And I was going to cover these with paper, but I'm glad that I stained the wood instead. I think it really adds some charm to these. And that's what I'm talking about. Just gluing it on the skewer like that to make it look like a bottle rocket. Some little DIY faux fireworks. And I'm going to do that here on all 3, and then we can decorate them a little bit more. I thought we could have these bottle rockets like sticking out of our beach bucket, just to give it a little bit more 4th of July fun. So I think that looks pretty good. I think they're all secure. Then I wanted to decorate them a little bit because otherwise they look kind of boring, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little Dollar Tree brown jute twine to make little wicks for the bottom of the bottle rockets that can kind of stick out. Kind of like dynamite wicks, if you will. And we're just going to attach those to the bottom of our little bottle rockets with just a dot of hot glue. Like it's coming out the bottom, a little wick that we can light it with. And just going to stand those up upside down, standing the twine like straight up in the air. So super easy. Then I'm going to take a little Dollar Tree burlap ribbon, and I just kind of cut it in half and cut the wire off the end just because I want to do like a little burlap rocket top. So I just kind of like make it into a little cone shape and hot glue it together and just cut off a very rustic, simple little burlap cone to go on the top of our fireworks. I thought that would make it look a little bit like a rocket on there. And just another little fun beachy touch to go with all of the wood and everything too. And so I'm going to do that same exact thing for the other 2 bottle rockets. Just kind of cutting it in half, cutting the wire off, forming a cone shape, and just hot gluing it to itself. Super easy. And then you just have to cut the bottom to make that bottom like a nice flat line to go all the way around to the side of the rocket. Now, I did decide that I wanted them to be different lengths sticking out, so I did cut one down a little bit. This one I thought would make it look like flag stripes, so I'm just using a red paint pen and just drawing some flag stripes on there, leaving that stained, but just adding a little bit of striped fun there all the way around. They don't have to be perfect, just kind of close. And this one, I took a white paint pen and I thought we would put some little stars on here. So I'm just drawing some simple like freehand stars all over with more of a like fine tip. But you could also just draw stars on there and fill them in. It would be super cute too. I just wanted a few more patriotic touches on the fireworks. And then I thought they were a little too, you couldn't really tell, you know, so I do go back in here with a white paint pen and kind of fill them in to make them a little bit more substantial. And I thought we could have like one of these like sticking out each direction of the bucket and one like sticking straight up. And I'm just going to do the simple red flag stripes on this one too. And then it's just a matter of putting them in there. I do use a little hot glue on the tip just to kind of make it stay where I want it to. Just because I kind of had weird filler going on in there underneath my seashells and starfish. And then kind of like work the other 2 kind of around the sides here. Super whimsical, super beachy. I think this is so fun. What do you guys think about my little beach bucket full of bottle rockets? Super cute. And then you can always reuse that bucket. I think that's really cute. If you wanted to recreate that, you could take some Dollar Tree rope and just knot the sides, forming a new handle instead of a plastic handle.
But I love this color of blue, and check out those adorable wood fireworks. They're so fun. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment to let you know about my Facebook group. I always have it linked in the description below. We would love to see what you've been crafting, and you can see everyone else's beautiful projects over there. I also have a Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. And my handle on everything is Crafty Beach on YouTube.
We're going to use 2 of those wood boxes again from the Dollar Tree. This was one that I tried sublimation on, and so it was kind of just something I kind of needed to paint. So I'm going to go ahead and paint it and use it for part of this project. I want to make these 2 little boxes from the Dollar Tree into a coastal fireworks stand. Kind of like you would make like a lemonade stand or something, but I kind of want to design something that looked like a fireworks stand. I thought that'd be really fun. So the bottom one I kind of painted the bottom of, because that's going to be the front of the sign. This one I'm going to flip over and have it open so that I can put like fireworks and stuff inside of it. So it's going to have like, I need to just do the inside edges. I need to do the outside edges of that one, anywhere that one's going to be visible. But the bottom on that one is going to be the back of my fireworks stand, if I'm explaining that right. So I'm just kind of just painting where I need to paint, basically. Now, I want it to look like a fireworks stand, and so what I do is I'm going to measure like the inside of one of these boxes so I know how big it is. And I just went on Google search and like typed in, I think I typed in like fireworks on shelves or something like that. A fireworks store or something like that, and got a picture of fireworks on shelves. So it's going to give me a background that looks like there's all these shelves with fireworks on them. And I just printed that out on regular paper, and I made it the same size as the back of the tray. So I'm just Mod Podging that down, just a fun little detail to this fireworks stand, and was really easy to do. I am going to seal it in there with a couple coats of Mod Podge to make sure this isn't going to go anywhere. And that is a good start for the fireworks. I'm going to add more fireworks to it, of course, but I love that background. I think that really added a lot to this project. Now, this is how I plan to put it together. And that way it'll have like the front base. And then I thought I could use some of these jumbo popsicle sticks to kind of do the sides of the little fireworks stand. Like that, to kind of, you know, square it off a little bit. And then also doing one in, so I can do here a back panel. What I want to do is I kind of want to have like an awning come down. And so that is what that popsicle stick is going to be for. I'm going to paint those ivory, so there'll be a contrasting color, just the popsicle sticks. And then I also am going to use my Cricut for this one to make like words for the little side panels and also for the front of the fireworks stand. Now, I told you I was going to make a little awning for the top. And so I'm going to make that out of popsicle sticks as well. Instead of the jumbo, I think these are like the large ones. And I am just kind of cutting them down into size that I think is going to work well. I'm going to attach that one popsicle stick to the back, and then we'll have all of these little popsicle sticks like hanging over like a little awning. It really added to the effect. So I want to paint like half of them white, half of them red. And so I do like 3 in the ivory. And then I'm going to do 4 like in that crimson red. That way I can alternate them into little red and white stripes for the 4th of July. And this was definitely a really quick, easy way to do an awning for a DIY like this. And I love the vibe it gave it. So I'm also going to measure the popsicle sticks because, again, I said I was going to make words for all of this. And that is exactly what I did. I actually made my words go vertical with my Cricut, and I'm just using Dollar Tree red Cricut vinyl. And I'm going to have one side say sparklers and one side say rockets. I thought that'd be really fun. So just using some transfer paper, we're going to cut those apart. Again, I was using the Dollar Tree vinyl. It came off all on its own, but hey, at least it's all together, right? And we'll put rockets on that side and sparklers on this side. Not a fan of the Dollar Tree vinyl. I like it for other crafting, but for actual Cricut projects like this, as you can see, it's kind of more of a headache than it's worth. But we made it work. And now we can start putting this thing together. So sparklers on one side, rockets on the other. And then the front panel here, which I also want to add words to. I do go over and seal that vinyl down just because it was being, kind of iffy whether it was going to stay down with a little bit of Mod Podge. And then I go in with my Cricut again, and we are going to make a stencil. So I'm going to use some stencil vinyl, and we are going to use that to make stencils to do like a hand-painted front to the fireworks sign. And I am going to make it say beachside of fireworks. Here where I live, you either live, you live beachside or you live in town, So I'm going to have like beachside be in cursive, and then fireworks like in a big bold font. And you guys know I love using my Cricut to make stencils. It's one of the best parts. So we're just going to line those up on this sign and hand paint those onto the front of the sign to kind of personalize the little fireworks stand. I always like to use a little extra painter's tape as well to make sure that I don't go too crazy. But I'm just using some stencil daubers from the Dollar Tree and stenciling that on. We're going to do beachside in the ivory, and then we're going to do the fireworks in bright red. So we still have our red, white, and light blue theme for this. I can't remember. I don't know if I saved what fonts these were, but I will try to find them. If I do, I'll put them in the description below. I don't think I actually saved them in Cricut. And so here's the fireworks that we're going to paint bright red. And again, you could just attach the vinyl for the words on this. I always think it looks a little bit more high-end when you paint it, but definitely for the smaller words that we did on the side, using the actual vinyl was definitely faster. So that looks really good. I like those colors together. I was going back and forth about what to make that say, but I think beachside fireworks is perfect. Now I'm going to go in and lightly distress all over with a little bit of ivory to give it that coastal vibe that I love. And kind of wipe off any excess with a baby wipe. Now I'm going to distress the top too, just to kind of make it match. You can see I didn't paint the top just because I knew I was going to be attaching an awning to the top. And I usually don't want to paint areas that I know I'm going to need to glue. So I think we finally came to the point where we can start putting this little fireworks stand together. So this is how I'm going to build the awning. I'm going to take that jumbo popsicle stick that we cut down to size, and we're going to attach it here to the back. I was trying to determine if I needed to use like a smaller popsicle stick as a brace, but I decided I didn't really need to. I just use a bead of hot glue along the bottom edge, and then we're going to stick that jumbo popsicle stick up like that. So the back of the tray will be higher so that I can have my awning kind of down at an angle. And we're going to alternate the red and white popsicle sticks that we cut down to size like that, so they'll kind of overlap the top of the fireworks stand. And I think that's going to work. So we can just use hot glue and start gluing those on straight across, alternating red and white. I just do a little hot glue on the popsicle stick on the top and a little hot glue on the bottom. They're so lightweight, they're very easy to glue on. And isn't that cute? I think that made a perfect little patriotic awning for this little fireworks stand. Now it's time to put it together. I'm going to use some wood glue and some hot glue to make it a little bit stronger and just sit that together right on top. Now, we had those little side panels that we made too with the popsicle sticks that say rockets and sparklers that are going to kind of box that in a little bit. And we can glue those on as well. And pretty much the fireworks stand is complete, but I wanted to take it up a notch and make it even more special. So we're going to make fireworks to sit on the counter of our little fireworks stand. So what I did is, again, I went online and tried to find like retro or antique, like, you know, firework packages like the Black Cat. And I just printed out some really small images of like what little fireworks would look like. And then I just had some little bamboo sticks. You could use popsicle sticks, whatever you've got, something thin enough to cut down. And then I just cut down little wood pieces the same size as the little fireworks. And so when you look at them, they have great details. They look like little packages of like firecrackers. And so I did 2 of this one, and I did like 2 of the Black Cat ones. Probably the hardest part was just trying to get the images sized down enough for this. But this was really fun to do. And that wood is thin enough that I can just cut it to size. Just trimming them up, making them look a little bit better. And we can lay those on the counter. Now, I also got some of these like longer wood beads from the Dollar Tree. And I thought I would combine them with some toothpicks to make like some little colorful bottle rockets for our fireworks stand as well. So basically think miniature is what we're doing with this one. I picked out these long wood beads because I thought that would give me kind of the shape of a bottle rocket, right? If I cut down the toothpicks a little bit and attach those together. And then I can go back and even cover those with some paper. That's going to make them look even more patriotic. I just had some scrapbook paper. I think this was from the Dollar Tree even. And just some like red and white patterns. And I just wrapped that around them to kind of make them look like bottle rockets. And that was really fun. Anytime I can make a little miniatures like this for my craft, they really make me smile. So we're going to do like a red and white chevron pattern on this one. And just kind of leaning those up against the back of our fireworks stand. Then I thought I need sparklers. So I also printed out a very tiny image of sparklers. And I'm going to glue that onto a popsicle stick and cut that down to size as well. Because we can't have a fireworks stand without sparklers, right? I was trying to think of any of my favorite fireworks that we need to have on display here on the fireworks stand. Now I want to make sure these things don't just kind of like fall all over the place. So I am going to attach them in here with hot glue to kind of keep them in place. And this was such a fun DIY to put together. I'd really encourage you to make this. And you can definitely make it your own by kind of adding your favorite fireworks. The little packages of like sparklers and the firecrackers and stuff, really super cute. Once I get them all glued down, I think this is ready to go. What do you guys think about our little beachside fireworks stand? Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to distress the top. You know I'm not going to let it go a little bit undistressed, right? So I just use my ivory brush and distress my awning and kind of like where I put like the sparklers and the rockets on the top just to make that look kind of coastal as well. And that is definitely the final touch. Here it is, our fireworks stand. I love it with the firework background back there. I think that really makes it look so cute. And I just love this DIY. And I hope you do too.
And I always bring this one back year after year to add to my coastal 4th of July decorations. It's definitely a classic crafty beach DIY.
Now, this can be used as a reef too. I use this as a wall hanging in my entryway and I love it. It is a wood round from the hardware store. I actually got it at Home Depot. I think it was around $10 at the time I bought it. And what I'm going to try to do is attempt sublimation on raw wood. Not technically something that doesn't work, but not something that is typically done. But I had a sublimation printer and I wanted to try it out. Now, if you're not set up for sublimation, don't worry. You could always make a stencil of some kind, add your name to it, or just hand paint it. I just wanted to try this underneath what we're going to do. This is going to be a giant patriotic sign, but I want it to be like a home sign that I can use every year. So I'm cutting out the individual pieces and kind of arranging them on there using heat tape and taping down my sublimation paper that, again, I printed in a mirror image so that we can try sublimation. So I try 400 for 1 minute. I always like experimenting, and that seemed to work really well. My easy press is not super large though, so I have to break it up and do separate sections, 400 for 1 minute. I can tell that I had some bleeding right there at the K where I overlapped, so that's not the greatest, but we'll make it work. I wanted to do like a paint stain over this to make this kind of look like a flag. And I kind of wanted the sublimation of our name to kind of shine through. So kind of like a wood burning almost. This was totally an experiment, but it was super fun. So like I put the Telkin family. I'm going to put like some other details on there like established 2002 along the bottom. And again, you have to use heat tape if you're going to do sublimation. I need to get back into sublimation. I don't hardly ever do it anymore, but it's so much fun. You can make so many things with it. And I love experimenting with things like this, like raw wood. Using it just on the raw wood. I didn't add any kind of vinyl or anything like that. Just straight on the wood. And just using whatever iron I can find there at the moment. We're going to get this on here. And I think that looks as good as it's going to look. I'm going to give it a quick sand. I was a little worried about the bleeding in my sublimation, that you were going to be able to see it in the final product. So what I do is I do have some paint about the same color as my wood round. And I'm going to try to go in here and just touch it up a little bit before I go in and add the colors to see if I can kind of disguise that a little bit. I promise you guys 20 DIYs today. I'm bringing it, man, with 20 DIYs. This is a long video. I'm trying not to lose my voice here. Now, I want to do like a quadrant up here in the corner. And so I'm just using some printer paper and some painter's tape. And I'm just going to block that off to kind of protect that area of my wood round. And I want to paint it to look like a coastal flag, right? So I'm going to have to do stripes. So again, I'm using Dollar Tree painter's tape. We're going to continue that line straight across. And then you can just use little pieces like that to space that out fairly evenly. And we're going to do just a simple flag stripe pattern all the way up to the top here. And these wood rounds from Home Depot, like super sturdy, super heavy. I did have to kind of reinforce the hanger on this and stuff. But definitely fun to craft with. I've also used these with my Cricut, and they are beautiful, nice thick pieces of wood. And just going all the way down to the bottom with my painter's tape flag stripes. and then we can get started at decorating this. Now I'm going to use a roller from the, I don't think this one's from Dollar Tree. I think this one's just from Target, and some bright red candy apple acrylic paint. I'm going to mix that half and half with water because I want to kind of do that paint stain like I tried to do with my shelf sitter outside over this wood, so we can still get that great wood grain in the final project. So, and I want you to be able to read our name through it, right? So you want it to be very thin. So I'm just going to use a roller because it's such a big project, and we're going to go all around our little flag, just staining that. And then I use a baby wipe over it to kind of wipe off any of the excess. And you can only see those areas that I kind of touched up a little bit. Didn't take the stain, which I was kind of worried about, but we'll make it work. And then I'm going to do the same thing here on the top part of our flag. And all the way around, all the edges too. Just kind of distressing that and that same red stain. And see, the areas of the paint totally didn't take the stain. Probably should have touched it up later rather than beginning, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off my painter's tape. The Dollar Tree painter's tape, I mean, it's not the best. You're going to get some bleeding. Luckily, I kind of had that color, so I can kind of touch that up if I need to. But basically, we're just taking all of this off now. And what I have is that beautiful red stripe. That's what I was trying to go for on my shelf sitter that we made for outside. I didn't get it because I didn't really like how I taped it before, but it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And the sublimation worked. I mean, you can definitely see it through the paint. So I'm just going to use some of that red paint to try to touch up the areas, you know, where I had painted before. And then going back with that tan paint to kind of touch up my edges. That was really the areas where I had the most bleeding, just to make that look a little bit better before we finish this off. Okay, so now we need to kind of reverse tape what we did before. So we're going to go to the edges of the stripes that we did and mark that off with some painter's tape. And we can go in and do this section in blue. I want to use acrylic for this as well. I'm using like a bright turquoise mixed half and half with water to create a turquoise stain for this part. And then we're just going to go over that little quadrant of the sign with that beachy blue color. I love the red and blue together. It's so fun. And again, I just wanted a thin coat, so I go over that with a baby wipe and wipe off any of the excess paint and stain. And I am going to have to touch it up a little bit just because of the bleeding. But all in all, I would say that the sublimation underneath the paint stain worked. It does kind of look like a wood burning, right? And it's definitely going to be permanent for sure. Just kind of touching that up after removing my tape. And I really like that flag feel on the wood round shape. I think that's super fun. So I let this dry, and then what I'm going to do is kind of touch it up a little bit here and there, but I'm also going to distress it to make it, you know, look very coastal, a farmhouse. And so I'm going to use a little ivory chalk paint and a chunky brush, and we're going to go over the whole thing, giving it a little bit of a whitewash feel. And again, it's the red and wood stripes. It's not really red and white, but that light wood gives you that same kind of effect, right? Just to give it that more coastal farmhouse. And I did go over it a couple of times and distressed it heavily. I want it to look really old and weathered, and I sanded that down as well. Now I want to treat this with polyacrylic too, just in case I want to hang this outside. I actually might hang this outside this year. It's definitely a really cool piece, and I want to seal it and make sure that all of my hard work stays on there. The sublimation, I would say it was a success. Maybe if I had a bigger heat press, I wouldn't have had the bleeding issue, which did cause me some issues, but all in all, I like it. If you're not set up for sublimation, though, you could probably get the same effect by doing a stencil with maybe some, you could do a wood burn marker, and use your heat gun, or you could also use like those little wood finish markers from the hardware store or hardware aisle at the Dollar Tree. That would work as well. Now we are going to border this out with some white rope from the Dollar Tree. I love a good rope frame. I do want to use it to make a hanger as well. So I just tied a loop like that at the top. So we would have a nice coastal hanger at the top. And then we can glue that all the way around this giant wood round sign. Now, this is what I talked about when I had to reinforce it a little bit, because I am going to use hot glue to attach it to the sides, but it's big and heavy. So I also used some nails as well, because I want to make sure that that hanger stays attached to the top. But just hot gluing it all the way around. And this definitely has this old time looking sign, like maybe it was weathered. It's been around since 2002, way back when we said I do. I was trying to decide on there what year you put on there. Do you put like the year that you were married, or do you put like the year that you like lived together, right? I went with the married year. And then this is the reinforcement. I just take some nails and I'm just going to nail those right into the top of the rope, straight into the wood round, just to reinforce that a little bit, because I didn't know if it was going to be strong enough. And I'm trying to show you, but it's almost too big. But here it is. My family patriotic sign definitely has a coastal vibe, and we even tried some sublimation on it just for fun.
I really like the heavier duty wood sign like this. It's very durable. It's definitely holding up from year to year, but I just love it for 4th of July decor.
This one's really easy. This is a little sign that I found at the Dollar Tree. I love it because it's like it has a little blue star on there. I thought that'd be perfect for 4th of July. I didn't really want it to say shoot for the stars though. I wanted to put a little patriotic saying on here. So I'm just using some fingernail polish remover and trying to take off the saying. Sometimes that works. It kind of worked. As you can see, it really made it where I can sand it and kind of add my own color, which I kind of already have that color, this agave chalk paint, but we're just going to leave the little wood star attached to the galvanized metal background, and we're just going to make a cute little patriotic sign, but definitely a coastal feel by going all over that with some of that agave chalk paint. And this is a little sign. I just wanted a little sign to hang like on the knob of the drawer where I had some patriotic DIYs. And I think it was super easy to put together. It's just a little fun touch. Sometimes I like to hang little signs like this around. And I did go over it with another coat just to kind of make sure that you can't read the writing behind it. And then I'm going to go in with a brush and a little ivory, and we're just going to give it a slight distress all over to give it that coastal farmhouse feel. And you could totally hand paint what I'm going to add to this, but I already cut Cricut vinyl, so I thought I might as well do it for this one as well. And I just did 1776 in a skinny font. Just a fun little nautical patriotic DIY. Super cute. Just a fun little detail sign. This would be really cute on a tier tray for the 4th of July as well. Cute. And this is how it looks, hanging on a knob on my entryway where I have it all decorated.
So if you see anything like this with the star on it from Dollar Tree or wherever, be sure to pick it up because you can always remake it with just a quick few fixes to make it patriotic and super cute.
Okay, on to the front porch. I found these letters at Walmart. They were $1.99 USA, just giant like MDF letters. And we're going to make a giant porch sitter sign for the front of my house for the 4th of July. I love this piece. Now the wood I got at Home Depot, they were called bed slats. They are 1x4s and they're already pre-cut, so they're 39 inches long, which is perfect for what I needed for the front of my home. I'm gonna sit it on a little table next to my front door. They're in pretty good shape. They just required just a very light sanding, and they were like $3.76 when I bought them there at Home Depot a piece for those. Now, these are the secrets to building this today. I got these at the Home Depot as well. They're actually called wood joiners, and they're like these little metal prongs that you can use for construction purposes like this. And your girl is not a carpenter. So these were very useful. As you can see, I just put the two boards together, and I am just hammering those in the back. That way I don't have to use really any wood glue or anything like that. And it's going to hold up to the weather. I don't have to worry about hot glue or something like that. So I just did that all the way down, trying to get rid of any bowing and gaps with that if I can, because I kind of want this to be one piece that we can then DIY. Now, you guys like it when I include my mistakes, right? Okay. So I start laying out my painter's tape, and I'm just using Dollar Tree painter's tape. I'm using little pieces of the tape itself to do stripes, but I kind of messed up here. I just started on the sides, not thinking anything about it, and then I was going to go in with some candy apple red, and I wanted to create a red stain for the stripes. Where I messed up was how I taped it, because it's not going to really look like a flag with the red stripes in the middle. I should have done them on the sides, but I'm still going to show you because you guys like it, because, you know, we all have our craft fails, right? So I mixed that candy apple red paint with water to make a stain, and then using a Dollar Tree roller, because it's such a big project, I stained the red lines on there. And then I'm just going to go back and use the same painter's tape that we used before and reuse it over the top of our stained lines. And then I thought I would do the same exact thing for white. I would take some white acrylic paint, mix it half and half with water, and kind of whitewash this because I wanted like a coastal beachy 4th of July sign. I wanted some of that great wood grain to still shine through. Now with the white, maybe because I used, I think, Dollar Tree paint, it was already kind of too watered down. I kind of still had to keep adding more and more paint. But I'm going ahead to include this because it did look cool, but it kind of looked like a carnival sign to me when I peel it off. See, that doesn't look patriotic at all. I was so disappointed. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be able to salvage this. We're going to start from scratch. So I go over the entire thing. I've made it too far in this process. We're going to have a porch sitter sign, right? And I'm using some ivory chalk paint to cover it all up. So I'm not really going to be able to stain it because we already did and I didn't like it. But just going to try to disguise it, and we can start from scratch, and I can just paint flag lines on and all will be well. But always got to include my fails because, hey, sometimes you just don't think when you're doing stuff like that. I just didn't think when I was laying out my tape for sure on that. So it did take quite a few coats of chalk paint to cover up my red stain, but I think I finally got it. So now it's already got the ivory, right? So that will be great for a stripe. While I have that, I'm going to go ahead and paint my USA letters that. I want these to have like a star or starfish design on those. And I'm going to kind of use stickers for that. And so I kind of wanted a white background to do some stars. Now they also are rather thick, right? So I do go around the edges, kind of priming the entire letter with white, just so you don't have any of that just dripping over the edges. But you know, those rollers from the Dollar Tree actually work quite well, especially when you're working on a big project like this. But for the sides of the letters, you're definitely going to have to get in there with a foam brush. And I love this porch sitter. I DIY'd this 2 years ago, and I'm still using it. It's held up great, and it's beautiful. So now, lesson learned. I want stripes on the outside, and I want more stripes because that 2-stripe thing was just not cutting it. So I switched to a thinner painter's tape, made sure my stripe was on the outside this time. I'm using that tape as spacers and doing a much thinner flag stripe because I want you to be able to tell that this is supposed to be a flag, right? Not a carnival sign. And this end is going to have to be white, but I think it's going to be okay because we're going to have all 5 of these stripes, right? So now I'm going over the whole thing that I've got it taped off with a roller and some of that candy apple red acrylic paint until I get a good coat on there. Some nice red and white stripes. I hope, right? And I liked it much better this time. I do go over it with a couple of coats because this is going to be outside in the weather, and I want to make sure that it holds up. Just peeling off. This painter's tape was actually my good painter's tape 3M, but it did actually bleed a little bit here and there. But again, coastal farmhouse, it's forgiving. We can always touch it up a little bit if we need to. And that looks way more like flag stripes to me than it did before. So I'm happy with the redo, but it probably took me 3 times as much time, right? Now for the stars. I'm just using some green vinyl. This is from the Dollar Tree just to create some stars so we can do a star pattern on these. Now, I don't know why I did it this way, but what I did was I just cut out stars. They're actually starfish, but they're so small. I don't think anybody knows, but you know me. I was trying to be extra. And so I just made a whole bunch of star stickers, but you could do this with Dollar Tree stars as well. Now, looking back, there's a much easier way I could have done this. I could have just painted them blue and then made a stencil and painted the white stars on that way. But I don't know. I don't know why I did it this way because it's definitely more time consuming. But I was able to kind of wrap the starfish around the sides of the letters and make it look really cool. But I just had to keep making starfish and putting those all over because I wanted to have white stars and I want to be able to paint the letters blue. But this was probably way more work than it needed to be, right? Rookie moves. But hey, at least it turned out cute, right? And I was trying to show you, these really are starfish, right? Now for the blue color, I'm going to use Agave, this light blue chalk paint. It's a Waverly chalk paint from Walmart. And just going all over our blue letters with that. And with our beautiful star pattern on there. I guess another way I could have made them, well, that wouldn't really hold up outside. I was going to say that I could have painted the stickers white or did a white vinyl, but that would definitely peel off in the Florida sun. So hand painted for durability for sure. So I got those all painted that beachy blue color. That's going to be my stars, my USA letters. And then the other part that was a lot of work was just weeding all of those little stickers that we made off. In the end, I guess it was worth it because I think they turned out like really cool. I do go in and paint the sides of the letter that agave color as well. That I had kind of primed white earlier. And I guess all the hard work was worth it because look at all these beautiful little starfish all over my USA letters. Sometimes when a project is this much work, you hope it lasts forever, right? And we did a pretty good job putting this together, so hopefully it will. The only problem I've had is I think I added starfish with hot glue on this one. Probably should have used a little bit of a stronger glue, which I have, hence went back, forth, and done. So we have our USA letters. I do want to distress them a little bit to give them that coastal farmhouse vibe. So just using ivory and a chunky brush, maybe not that much distressing, but no worries. You get too much on there, just wipe off the excess with a baby wipe. And I always like to distress like in one direction like that. Give it that rustic coastal feel. And I think those are going to look really pretty against our red and white stripes on our sign. But first, I want to make them a little bit more durable. So I did have some polyacrylic, and I'm going to seal these really good. So these are going to hold up well out in my crazy Florida summer wet season weather. I have a tiny bit of a roof over my tiny porch area, but not much. So it is going to see some rain. And I do want to seal these just a little final touch to make sure that starfish pattern stays beautiful. I'm also going to distress our beautiful stripe since I didn't get to stain it like I wanted. I thought I could kind of get the same effect, but be careful. Make sure your red stripes are dry before you distress because I was getting a little pink there. We're not messing this up again, girl. Okay, I think crisis averted. Just a little bit of distressing. Don't go wild. There you go. Much better. And we want this to last as well, so we're going to polyacrylic seal this one too. This is me 2 years in talking to a rookie crafter here, making this porch sitter board, but she did a great job. So just giving that a quick dry with my heat gun, and then we can start putting this together. Now, I wanted it to be a little bit bigger than the bed slats ended up being. And so I am going to frame it out a little bit with some wood that I actually just had laying around the garage, just to kind of give it a larger feel, but totally optional. And look how cute our little letters look up against the stripes. Just trying to space them out evenly. And we're going to use some wood glue on these to attach these to our sign. Did have a little bit of bowing from the wood not being perfectly flush, but I think we're going to be able to work around that. Now I do use a combination of hot glue and wood glue just for like a quick hold and a long-term hold combination. And that also helped me get rid of any bowing that I had there with the two boards. Now, I actually have a whole bunch of wood slats that I have now from an old bed that I just cut down for craft wood the other day because my husband was like, if you don't use this wood soon, you have to get rid of it. So I cut it down into little pieces, kind of like the craft wood you get at the Dollar Tree. Save me some coin, maybe. And then I am just gluing those down. I don't like to throw away anything wood that's in halfway decent condition because, hey, we can craft with it, right? So the final letter is way down here. wood glue and hot glue, and we're gonna put this together. It would have been totally fine just like this, but some of the letters like this A were a little bit larger than the two boards together, and so I didn't really want them hanging off the edges like that. I thought maybe we could frame it and make it just a little bit larger, and this is the wood that we had, just some trim pieces that I think maybe a Boy Scout project. My husband was really involved in Boy Scouts with my son, and they were always building stuff. And so I have it, right? I might as well use it. They're just little trim pieces, but I don't want to do any miter corners or anything crazy. I just want something easy and coastal. So that's what we're going to do. Trying to find, some halfway flat pieces of that and lining it up along the side of my porch sitter. And then I'm just going to cut it down to size. It's kind of hard to see because the sign is so big, but basically I'm just going from the top to the bottom with two pieces of wood, and then I'll do another piece of the scrap pieces from side to side. Just a very rustic, like farmhouse frame. Nothing special. But it did add another, I think, coastal touch because I'm just going to leave the wood unstained like that. I think it was another nice addition. I think it kind of framed it out a little bit. I liked it way better that way. So we have all four pieces cut down. And now we can just add that to our porch sitter sign and be done with this piece. And you can see what else we have for the front porch for 4th of July. Now, I thought about using the wood joiners for this, but I was having some issues with them. So I'm going to try some wood glue, hot glue. They're just little trim pieces, and I think that combination would be good just to glue these to the side of our little wood slats. And I'm going to do the same thing in the other, just trying not to mix the two different kinds of glue together. Probably would be easier to have done this before I had my letters on the front, but this project kind of evolved, which is okay. And then we can glue the top and bottom pieces on the same way. And in the end, I'm really happy with it. Now, since we have that fun starfish, design, because we're going coastal with this one, the final touches on this is going to be some Dollar Tree starfish. These are plastic, so I think they'll hold up well outside. The hot glue, however, did not. So I would suggest using like maybe some E6000 on those because I did have to repair those after, I think, my first year of displaying it. So this is going to be the 3rd year of my USA porch sitter, and I love it. I made it for the fraction of a cost that you could have bought this anywhere else, that is for sure.
So, not everything was from the Dollar Tree on this one just because I couldn't find it there. But you could kind of use some of the craft wood if you wanted to piece it together. But sometimes I want to go to other stores for a larger project like this one.
We're going to make 3 here. We're going to use some of this foam from the Dollar Tree, just the long pieces that are all attached, not the ones that are cut up. I draw a little square on the top, and using like my little putty knife from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to just go ahead and shave that off at a diagonal like that. What I want to do is change these little foam blocks into buoys. I wanted to make like 3 different like patriotic buoys that I can use for decorating, and I thought this would be way easier than making them out of wood. So I did that on all 4 sides of my little square, just shaving that down, trying to get that like fairly even. It's not going to be perfect, but you can get it pretty close. And then you can also sand that foam. This is that real soft foam from the Dollar Tree. I was trying to square up like the bottom corners there a little bit. But again, if you want it to look like an old buoy, like the less perfect it is, probably the better. And that's pretty much going to be the shape of this. But again, I wanted to do 3 of these. So we're going to go ahead and have 2 more to cut down as well. I was thinking they're going to need a hole. So I just use a dowel from the Dollar Tree and push it through the foam and create a hole there. Super easy. Again, the foam is going to be just way more easier because I know you can make these out of wood, but that would be a lot of cutting and with a saw. So first buoy is done. So I want to do the same thing with the other 2 by making a square on the top. This one, I think I made my square a little bit larger on this one to try to give myself a little bit of room in case I needed to trim it up a little bit. But again, just shaving down, trying to get like the 4 sides like relatively even. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but you definitely can clean it up a little bit with a sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. And again, I'm just going to poke a hole through there for our rope. And one more buoy. I'm going to paint these like kind of like traditional buoys. I'm going to do them all different though, so they'll all kind of coordinate together. And, but also I'm going to give them like a slight patriotic feel, using some patriotic colors and numbers and stuff like that. So just shaved down the 3rd one exactly the same way and gave it a quick sand. Now, I was worried that if I just tried to paint like directly on that foam, it wasn't going to stick. So I do go over it with a big coat of Mod Podge first because I wanted to try to seal that that foam, has that kind of like flaky feel. I kind of wanted to, seal that so I would kind of have a surface to paint. And so that's what I'm using. It's just Mod Podge, just kind of going all over with a foam brush to try to seal that. And I think that did do the job because I was able to paint them. I did have some issues painting them because it was still very kind of like delicate to work with at this point. One thing that's great about making a foam buoy though is that it's going to be very lightweight, so it's going to be really easy to hang. And I think these would kind of hold up inside, outdoors, wherever you want to use them. So I'm just using that Mod Podge on all 3 and we're just sealing all over the sides. I'm using the matte Mod Podge, but you could totally use whatever you have. And I was thinking, I would like to do like some buoys, like the round ball buoys, but I've never really found anything at the Dollar Tree. Like they don't have like foam balls that big. And I think like playground balls really wouldn't work for that. So I've been trying to brainstorm something I could do, like so I could make like a chain of the round ones. That would be really cool to do as well. So just sealing up the 3rd one, and then we can get started painting these little buoys. I also sealed the bottom, kind of all of the surfaces. Now I'm going to use chalk paint. I thought that might stick better. I don't know if it really matters though. But what we're going to do is go over the buoys and I'm going to go ahead and paint them all ivory. So I just kind of start out a couple sides at a time so that can start drying. And since I have 3 of them, I can kind of alternate which one that we're painting. So I do 2 sides, I do the top and the bottom, and then I move on to the next one to kind of make it just more efficient. I want to use like the same colors that we used on our flag. So I want to use red, white, and blue, but for blue, I want to use kind of like a coastal beachy blue. So once it gets dry, I go ahead and paint the other 2 sides, and it gives you that cool like texture where you can see kind of some of the holes there in the foam. That's just going to make it look more realistic, more like an old buoy. And I do go over it with a second coat of ivory just to make sure I'm covering up like all of that light green foam to make them look a little bit better. So once they're all ivory, we can start taping them off. Now, my mistake was probably that I used painter's tape that was a little too good. This is some really good painter's tape, and because what it did is it does take some of the paint off. So be careful if you're using painter's tape. I use this because it's really sticky, but maybe I should have used some of the Dollar Tree painter's tape. Might be less sticky. But for this one, I wanted to do stripes, like the flag stripes, right? So I am just pinching that on the corners, trying to get straight lines all the way across so that I can cover up the white stripes. And then we can go in and paint like red stripes on this buoy. And they don't have to be perfect, just similar. So that's our first one. Now this one, I thought we would do something a little different. So about like halfway down, I'm just gonna tape across. So we can kind of like color block this one a little bit. And then I decided to add stripes to the bottom of it, but just like one right there in the middle. Now this one, I definitely want to color block this one. So kind of like 2/3 of the way down, I'm putting a stripe on this one of the painter's tape, and you'll see what I mean by color blocking these. Now I'm going in with that crimson red chalk paint again, and we are going to go paint stripes. So just going over the buoy on all the sides, we're just going to paint over the painter's tape and give some stripes to these buoys. So the first one is the one with all of the stripes. Now the next one I kind of wanted to do a little bit different. I decided I wanted to do a red top on this buoy. So I'm just painting the top of this one red and stopping at the painter's tape. Then I wanted it to have like a white stripe and then another red stripe, which is why I taped it off like that. And then leave the bottom part of it that ivory color. And for the last one, we wanted just a simple color block. So I did the top of the last one, so we'll do the bottom of this one, like in the bright red. Just by painting the bottom and all 4 sides underneath the tape. And again, I do want to do these red, white, and blue. They're probably going to have a little bit more red on them than blue, but that's okay. That's kind of how a flag is, right? So that looks pretty good. And we can start painting like the blue part of the buoys. This one I wanted to do color block, so we're going to do the entire top of this buoy in that like light blue agave color of chalk paint. Again, definitely I use chalk paint on these, but I don't know if it's really necessary. You can probably get away with acrylic paint on these. I was just trying to paint with something that was going to be a little stickier to stick to that foam. And then we paint the bottom of this one blue. And that first one is just red and white, so no blue on that one. And I think that's going to work. So I gave them a good dry, but I was careful. I did not want to melt the foam. And then this is kind of when I had some issues with this project because as you can see, it started out kind of good, but like right here, like the tape started taking off the paint. And even though it was a really sticky, like painter's tape, it did bleed too. So I'm going to go ahead and take off all of the paint to painter's tape and see what kind of damage we have. Now, you could kind of leave the damage because it does make them look older and more realistic like a buoy, but mine are pretty rough at this point. So I do go in and we're just going to try touching these up a little bit by touching up like our white stripes anywhere where you could see like some of the green foam through them. And try to cover up a little bit of the bleeding as well. Again, I wasn't going for perfect, but I did want it to look like it had a little bit of a pattern. So if you're going to use painter's tape, be careful. Definitely don't do what I did. Okay, So I wanted to put a 4 on there, so I just kind of used like a bigger brush to kind of paint a 4 on there. I got it on there and wasn't a huge fan of how it looked, so I did flip it over and try to paint another little 4 on there that I liked a little bit better, a little bit finer. But the 4 is for the 4th of July. That's basically going to be any of the text on there. But you could add more numbers. You could do like a 7-2 for July, right? Now that I have them all painted the colors that I want, I am going in and distressing them with ivory. So, you know, that is going to help disguise any of the paint issues that we might have had. But it's also going to give them that like rustic feel that we definitely want them to have. So I just go around like all the edges, and I'm just using like a chunky brush from the Dollar Tree and a little bit of ivory for that. And even though we had some issues painting these, I think they turned out really cool, and I absolutely love them. Now to hang them, I'm just going to use some of that thinner brown nautical rope from the Dollar Tree and string them in that hole we made earlier. Just going to try to make sure I get it large enough that my rope will fit through there. You can also kind of use the dowel to help push your rope through there, kind of feeding it through a little bit. Just a matter of getting your hole large enough there. And then I'm just going to cut off a piece of that rope long enough to make a nice hanger and tie that off. I am going ahead and stringing them on the same rope, but I am going to cut it into like individual pieces. As you'll see, wasn't sure if I wanted to tie them all up together or if I wanted them hanging separately with the rope. And I did decide that I did want them hanging separately with the rope. But for now, I'm just stringing them through there. Just making sure that I got the hole large enough. And aren't these fun? Now you could paint these in any kind of colors, but this is just a nautical or coastal version that's also a little bit patriotic. So I cut one off that's long enough, and then I just kind of do an overhead knot there on the top to make a hanger and pull that tight. And I think that looks really cool. Now, I hang mine, but you could also sit them on a counter with the ropes kind of hanging down like that. I think these would look really cute hanging outside, like along a fence or something like that too. That would be really cute. And so I do the same thing on all 3 of them, is just I tie them in a knot and cut off the excess rope.
And you could use this for really any time for coastal decor, but doing it red, white, and blue like this makes it really fun for the 4th of July and great for coastal patriotic decor. I just love how these turned out. They were really easy. You could make as many of them as you want, and you can do whatever kind of patterns on them as well. Just a little bit of a learning curve with painting them, I learned, but I kind of like how they all turned out really rustic like this. Okay, you've made it to the final reveal for all 15 of the Coastal Patriotic DIYs we made today. Please comment in the comments below your favorite DIY, or just come say hello. I always love to hear from you. And enjoy the final reveal.
I get a little bit breathless, my thoughts are too big. Can I get some comfort, please? I guess I should have been honest. It breaks in my heart. It's weighing me down, baby. I'm like a river that's overflowed. The sooner you know it, the less do we hurt. Let me speak the truth. I know you don't want to face it. You think it's too late, but I can see past the rain. Won't you lay it on me? Turn the page and burn it. Let's make up a big bonfire on the beach with the stars as our lighter.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. I really appreciate it. I hope you got lots of great crafting inspiration. I also want to give a huge thank you to my Crafty Beach Bum members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Nancy Wunner, Julie Miller, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Maria Grace, Donna Schreiner, Sandy C., Debbie DeLay, Ariana's Mama, and Live Another Day. I really appreciate each and every one of you so much. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member, all you have to do is hit join beneath today's video. It's $4.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. You're going to get early ad-free access to my videos, and it's a quick, easy way to support me here on YouTube. Are you looking for more 4th of July crafting inspiration? I've got you covered. Check out this video right here. And until next time, happy crafting.